Awesome.
What is going on, YouTube fam? Welcome to the channel. My name is Fareed, and I'm right now at the Rarebloom event that's taking place in Denver, Colorado. And I have the pleasure of hanging out with Andrew Klein, who is the CMO of MELD Labs. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Good.
One of the best conferences I've been to of the year. It's such a tight-knit,
really
fun event. Yeah, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I guess post-COVID, everything seems super fun, right? So.
True, because it's probably the first time you get to really hang out with people and see them face to face. Yeah, I'm on the heels of CNFTCon, and that was amazing. And so to have this the following week, right, it's been super amazing for me in terms of networking, meeting people, and also creating content, right, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it just as much as you have as well.
Very different vibes, I guess, between the two conferences.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we're going to start off with your background. You're the CMO of MELD, but what exactly do you do? Can you kind of explain that for us?
Yeah, just leading the marketing functions mainly around MELD, and I'm sure you're aware it's marketing in the Web3 space is very different than the Web2 space, so it's much more community driven. But I would say the day-to-day is again, without our protocol being live, our goal is to keep the community updated on the roadmap status, the evolutions and what we do and how we evolve the product, because we both know Web3 is such a dynamic space. You can't just set your roadmap and forget it and execute.
Right.
It's like you have to adapt and evolve as, for instance, the blockchain you're building on evolves. You can't just you can't just roadmap out 2 years like a traditional company. So.
Right. Well, there's things that are changing, so quickly, and I think Vassal was one of those things, right? It was like MELD had a roadmap, and not just MELD, plenty of projects had their roadmap, and that was a huge setback, and it's kind of like you're at the mercy of the hard fork. And so what are your thoughts on that, and what we could potentially do to kind of, avoid those types of situations?
Yeah, I think it's just hard. I mean, even with testnet, it's like if you deploy something and all of a sudden, it's, everything you did is broken in the next update like that, that causes a lot of refactoring of code, and, it just sets you back. So I think the key is just always be looking ahead. For instance, like with Hydra, like we know that will be very beneficial to us, and pooled lending and everything we're trying to do. So, but again, it's not here yet. But we also can't sit back and just wait for that kind of stuff to happen. So I think it's a balance between like waiting and knowing when to deploy versus, I guess, just rushing ahead and trying to be the first to market. So our goal is never to be, the first to market. It's to be, marketing at the right time in a sense.
Right.
So our goal is to deliver, a well thought out quality product that our customers actually want, and that's our mission. So
right, and I think some people in this space have a hard time coming to that conclusion because they're so used to people rushing to get things out, that first mover's advantage. But I always tell people, being the first mover is not really what's important. It's about being the best mover, right? It's like if someone gets ahead of you, that's fine. But if you can come behind them and do what they're doing even better and give, more utility, more functions to things, then I think that it's worth it, So it might take a little bit of time to develop things, but as long as you're patient and you're able to deliver, I do think it's worth it. And so
there's a line between, getting that network effect and getting the traction of users, and in the crypto world, like that LTV, and the other side of it is, is waiting and being patient. Obviously, Cardano is kind of the, what they say they probably measure 3 times and cut once, right? Whereas there's a lot of projects out there that don't measure at all, and they just start cutting everywhere, hoping that something comes to fruition. So that's very much not what we're trying to do at MELD. So.
Right. I believe you have some experience with BitPay. Do you mind kind of talking a little bit about that prior experience?
Yeah, so I was the director of marketing at BitPay. BitPay is actually the oldest cryptocurrency company that's still in business.
Wow.
Obviously, there's been plenty like Mt. Gox that have gone down, but they're founded in 2011, so they're payment processor mainly. So a lot of merchants want to be able to have exposure and be able to accept crypto payments, but they don't want to hold them on their balance sheet or their ledger. So we would convert the money into fiat for them and allow them to accept crypto payments. So for instance, like Dish Network or the Dallas Mavericks were 2 of our big customers that wanted to accept crypto. But yeah, so I helped relaunch the new debit card there. They had a crypto debit card where you would be able to load your cryptocurrency, which would convert it into dollars and put it on a prepaid debit card. So that was a fun project. And then also signing on some of these big B2B merchants was a fun experience. But again, now that I've been in DeFi and down the deep Web3 rabbit hole. It's
Yes.
a lot different than BitPay, which is kind of a hybrid between a fintech company and a Web3 company. So
Gotcha. And that's actually going to take us into my next question, which is, a little bit more about MELD, right? So now that you're in the DeFi space, how are you able to leverage what you've learned, as a CMO or as a marketer, and able to actually use that on MELD or with the MELD project?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've learned mainly, I think the difference, I think traditional brands and kind of Web 2 projects is, they're not as community driven. I mean, there's, hundreds of major brands out there that have no brand ambassadors, no one talking about them daily.
Right.
There's no Discord for people to go and converse about. So I think one of the biggest things I've learned is in the Web 3 world, it's really about community and how much your community, supports you, believes in you. They are your marketers. They're the people that get out there and do the work for you. So instead of me having, a massive bloated team of, 25 people, having 50 ambassadors is more powerful. And being able to harness those people, keep them excited, make them rally around kind of a sword in the stone, right? Where there's this is the rallying point. That's the whole goal in marketing now, is keeping people excited. And a lot of that has to do with product delivery and roadmap deadline meeting, amongst other things too. But a lot of it's also clear communication. And you and me both know in Cardano, transparency is everything. And, people in this space are way smart enough to see through, BS. So
yes, they are.
I'm not one to BS there.
Yes, they are. And I will say that I am actually a MELD ambassador. And it's funny that you mentioned that. Because I feel like my passion for MELD has grown so much over the past few months. I've only been ambassador for, I want to say, about 5 or 6 months, but since then, being around the team, being around members like yourself, Ken Oling, Matt Nash, so many of you guys, I really appreciate the positivity that you guys spread and what you guys are bringing for the community. So I think, like you said, as long as you guys are doing your work, you guys are going to have that community that organically grows around you guys. Exactly. And I think the ambassadors are that key part. And so, okay, next we're going to talk a little bit about MELD. Can you give us a quick rundown of what MELD is and what you guys are aiming to bring to Cardano?
Yeah, so we are, again, this is, I guess, to give a direct comparison to people that are somewhat familiar with the Web3 space, but they may not totally be familiar with MELD. We're mainly the kind of Aave, if you will, of Cardano. So we're prepared to be a lending protocol. We have one unique twist, though, and that unique twist is having a direct fiat off-ramp through having, banking licenses, across Europe and, in the future, US. But that goal will allow people to live their life off of crypto. And for someone like me or other people who get paid the majority of their incomes in crypto, they want to be able to hold those assets and avoid short-term capital gains tax. So for instance, me, if I get paid in Bitcoin and I want to hold that Bitcoin for over a year, so I can pay long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains, I still need money to live off in that year, right? So the good news is when you live off of debt, which is, obviously you're borrowing an asset against your collateral, you're able to keep your exposure to Bitcoin, but also have money to live in the real world.
Yes.
And we're able to deposit that money straight to their bank account, which will be different than, again, the other lending protocols in play now. Mainly they'll lend you stable coins, but then you have to go through all the hassle of off-ramping it, getting it to exchanges, converting it, depositing it to your bank, waiting a couple of days. So I think we have a very unique value proposition there.
I totally agree with that. Could you also maybe elaborate a little bit about the tax implications, right, of borrowing against your own asset as opposed to, trying to cash out the old-fashioned way that people are doing it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what all the billionaires have been doing for years, right? They have their liquid securities or their stock. Like, think about Mark Zuckerberg, he has, say, billions of dollars in stock. He can make a call to a private bank, right now and probably have, $10 million in his, or way more than that, $10 million in his account with literally calling. There's no application needed for him. There's no, he doesn't have to have a credit check run. They don't have to verify assets. They just say, you have this collateral. We're going to lock it up. As soon as you pay back the loan, we'll unlock your capital. So that's exactly what, we're going to do at MELD. So we're going to, again, allow you to keep your crypto positions open, but still live your life that you want to live and actually have some liquidity. Because again, a lot of people will have, for instance, people like me, if you've got 80-90% of your net worth in crypto, like, I don't want to sell any of it, right? But I also need to live. So
true.
That's our goal.
No, I think MELD is solving a very unique problem, and it's a problem that we're now starting to see as Web3 and crypto is growing, right? So this is not a problem that many people may have realized before, but I think as more people are making money through crypto, they're realizing, well, I don't want to cash out, I want to be able to borrow against it.
Exactly.
So that's key, that's huge.
Yeah, and it's also different depending on the state of the market, right? If it's a bull market, people are trying to go, a lot of people are actually shorting the market in a bear market, right? So in the case of MELD, you may have your assets are, say, ADA, but you're wanting to borrow, like if you're trying to short the market, you would borrow more ADA, and then you would pay that back at a cheaper price. So you would do that more during a bull market. But during a bear market, you usually want to borrow like stable coins, and then you want to buy more crypto with those stable coins, which makes you go long, because then you're able to pay back. When your assets increase, you're able to pay back your loan at a discount.
Right.
So,
I want to also add here that MELD is not only focusing on lending and borrowing, right? You guys are also working on a new feature called the AKAMON bridge, which will allow for liquidity to come in from other blockchains. So you guys recently had I believe an announcement surrounding the onboarding of Avalanche, but like, where do you see AKAMON going in? How do you see AKAMON being used in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal of it, even since the beginning, our goal was to be multi-chain, largely. Again, we're very loyal to the Cardano community. We were the first ISPO. We're massive supporters in it. However, we believe that, again, liquidity should be cross-chain, and it should be very interactive with every blockchain, right? And so by bringing additional liquidity to Cardano, we think that will be in the best interest of both the Cardano community and ourselves. So our goal is to use AKAMON to be able to allow people to bridge liquidity over from Avalanche, from Polygon, wherever, be able to wrap, for instance, and use synthetic stable coins on Cardano. Because right now, there's no stable coins currently active. But however, if you go through the AKAMON bridge, you can wrap your USDC, bridge it over, it's minted on Cardano, and then you've got it as a native asset on Cardano, and that's going to be a game changer in the future.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. I was actually just speaking with another member here where I was doing an interview about Mihan stablecoin, which is an asset-backed stablecoin coming to Cardano, and we're talking about how critical that is for the ecosystem right now, right? It's like there's no place right now to kind of safeguard your money, right? Because everything is just fluctuating. So I think the need of that stablecoin is now starting to become it's becoming a lot more clear, right? Yeah,
because everything right now is paired to ADA, right? So you notice whenever there's like kind of an ADA slip in terms of price, or going below support or whatnot, like the rest of the native assets on Cardano go down. So what we're hoping for is stable coins will come, and they'll peg all these assets to, again, stable value versus to ADA. So
gotcha. Now, kind of moving things along, I know you guys have recently made some announcements surrounding the dev diaries. You guys have also been a little bit more active on Twitter and the Discords, posting updates about the protocol, and you guys are going to be focusing more now on the C2C, or the crypto to crypto lending, and in order to deliver that. And I believe the testnet is scheduled for Q1 of 2023. And so what can we expect from MELD in regards to crypto to crypto? Or crypto to crypto lending?
I'm most excited about crypto to crypto, because I feel like that's the bread and butter of a DeFi lending protocol. Like the fiat feature is going to be great. I don't know that again, all the degens are going to use it, just because there are KYC implications and things that again, the hardcore DeFi purists may not want to participate in. But I do think that the crypto to crypto side is necessary. I mean, it's very necessary. Again, the first step though for it to deploy on Cardano is to have stable coins or asset backed stables or whatnot, and we're not quite there. So I think again, our goal is to get live on testnet. Maybe we have we use a fake placeholder stable coin just to test out with, and we'll use other Cardano native assets. And our goal is very much to get it out in early Q1. However, we roadmap goals are always
they're shifting.
You're moving targets, if you will, but we will do our best to have that live on Cardano, and that way we'll show the community kind of where we are, and actually give them features to play with. So our user interface is already up. We'll be showing that soon.
Really?
You'll be able to see behind the scenes, like how MELD works. It's not going to be again live on a testnet. It's going to be very much like an interactive kind of demo, if you will. But we're really excited to showcase that.
That's awesome.
In the coming months.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I was able to get the opportunity to play around with the AKAMON Alpha, right, which was launched on the testnet, and that was pretty cool. Being able to see my assets being swapped, from my Cardano wallet, and then seeing them, locked and then reminted and show up in my Ethereum wallet. So you guys are definitely doing a lot of work. I have high expectations personally, and I'm sure the community does too when it comes to the crypto-to-crypto lending. But I also want to talk very briefly about the gold-backed stablecoin. Right? So this was something that was brought up, I want to say, very early on when you guys launched, and obviously there's been a lot of time that's passed since then. But there was a recent announcement in which Ken Oling, who's the CEO of MELD, talked about this gold-backed stablecoin. And so do you kind of mind, giving us a brief overview of what that is and how you guys plan on implementing that? And then also, what are the benefits of a gold-backed stablecoin?
Yeah, so there's still some details. Obviously, I can't totally share about that, but it will be, again, an asset-backed. I don't know if you should say stable coin is the right word, because I guess stable would imply that it's consistent to something, whereas I guess, there's different names for it, but we will be launching that as soon. We're expected to do, an ISPO for that on multiple levels. Our goal is not to have, 100 pools that we spin up, as MELD, as an entity. Our goal is to involve the community, the current stake pool operators, and allow them to help run this for us. And again, people's ADA rewards will be converted into a gold-backed stablecoin that will be, is a good hedge against, a loss, right? So, some people want to get more exposure to ADA. They want to claim their ADA rewards, but some people just want actually valuable. They want a valuable asset that will maintain its value over time very consistently. So I think that those people will be very interested in this asset, and also it just gives you a sense of stability in a very unstable environment. So
yes, I think people.
It's a good hedge.
Yeah, people are looking for that stability right now, and I'm sure you're aware of that. So I appreciate that as well. Yeah. Another initiative that you guys are actively working on, I believe, is also the Golden Bank Managers, right? So you guys already have the Diamond Hands NFT. That was an NFT that was awarded to anybody who delegated to the MELD ISPO for, I believe, 30 or more epochs. But then on the heels of that, there's also the traditional bank manager, which I believe there's going to be about 42,000 or so of those, and those go out to anybody who delegated for one epoch. But there's going to be a special 10 golden bank managers. So do you kind of mind talking about that and how those came to be?
I don't have a ton of insight on that. That's more of a Ken's kind of his baby project. He keeps it close to the heart, but I think, again, rewarding people in your community and people that do special and specific things, and keeping, and obviously issuing, scarce assets has always been something that we've been mindful of. So our goal is to engage our community as much as we can, and actually, give some lasting value to the people that do contribute. So I would say, keep an eye out for more information on our blog, Medium, etc., and you'll be caught up to date. I'll
definitely be doing that. There's been so many questions within the Discord community as to when those will be coming out. I know you guys have released some previews, and the art looks amazing.
Oh, the art will be, Ken is meticulous about the art, which we love. Again, we spend hours a day in meetings on these NFTs, so they're definitely not off the radar. They just need to be, again, doing your first, I guess this isn't technically our first, but doing any NFT collection should be done well. Like, we've all seen these projects that pop up with horrible art. There's no attention to detail. There's no community involvement. There's nothing but an image that looks like your 5-year-old daughter drew. And our goal is not to do that. It's to be very pristine, professional, and give people an avatar and a meaning and something to stand behind. Because we both know these NFT, PFP projects are just kind of dying, and there's hundreds or thousands of these that are just useless and dead now. So.
I think the JPEGs were version 1.0 of NFTs, and hopefully we're now going to start to see a new generation of NFTs come along. And so I've got 2 more questions for you, and then we're going to wrap it up. My next question is more or less about the future of MELD. Where do you see MELD going 1 year from now, 2 years from now? Where do you see MELD in the future?
That's a good question. I think as the regulatory, framework evolves over time, I think that it'll be more and more important for DeFi protocols to be, to have licenses and to have entities and potentially banks or fiat off-ramps that will be independent of third parties. You could have a Wire, Banksa, or MoonPay kind of relationship and let them do all the off-ramping for you. But I think that the good DeFi protocols, as such as MELD, we will have actual access, direct access to, money transfer capabilities and banking licenses to actually hold deposits and assets. So I think in the future, I think the banking arm will be super important for MELD. I also think that, our goal is to get, again, our TVL, to a certain volume where, our smart contracts are trusted and audited, and we have, potentially billions of dollars that are, locked up in smart contracts by us.
Right.
'Cause if you think about it, a lending protocol without airtight, attention to detail and security, will fail.
Oh yeah.
So look at Aave, they've never been hacked, right? And they have billions of dollars that they're holding for institutions and investors alike. So I would say in the next 5 years, our goal will be, to be, I guess head to head with Aave, and to be on as many blockchains as they are, and also again keeping airtight with the regulatory framework that evolves. So
right. No, I think that's a good plan, and I think AKAMON will help you guys to get that reach on top of the actual core MELD protocol itself, right? And so I've got one more question. Obviously, you're CMO, so you're marketing first, right? Or you're marketing oriented. What would you say has been, the biggest challenge for you when it comes to Web 2 marketing versus Web 3 marketing in this new age?
Interesting. I think a lot of it comes down to in Web 2 marketing, you have access to the insights on your customers, exactly who they are,
right,
what they're doing, where they live, what their demographics are. In Web 3, again, it's such a privacy-focused space that you don't get access to that stuff.
Right.
And all the traditional tools like targeted paid search ads, going to the right demographic at the right time, at the right website, that kind of stuff you think about, Google and Facebook, these kind of spies on your personal information. They have access to all this data. In Web 3, that goes against the ethos. We don't want the information everybody wants to be anonymous. They want to be private. They want to be secure. So without this information, those tools, marketers struggle to be able to reach the right people at the right time.
Right.
But it also, it's also a struggle in, growing and expanding the Web 3 space, because it's hard to reach the Web 2 people in the right way. So again, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, the privacy, security component, but then also the marketing and getting to the masses. So
right.
The other thing is, I think, is community. Again, Web 2 community is not nearly as important. I know I mentioned that earlier. And in Web 3, community is everything. And there's think about it, there's very few people that have any community building experience out there. Minus the people that have been in guilds playing video games for, the last 10 years or 15 years, where they're all online driven communities of joint people with joint objectives. Anyone outside of the video game space has no clue, which is the majority of, I would say, the majority of the world, right? So, finding these people that can build a community, that can rally the troops, and that can actually inspire action and have people market for us. It's never before been seen. So we're having to kind of create this framework, create new job descriptions, convince people that they should try Web 3 marketing when they're scared and nervous. And think about it, most marketers aren't the most technical people in the world. So you've got, a massive, I guess, divergence between people that are Web 3 marketers and Web 2 marketers. So, again, on-ramping these Web 2 marketers and giving the confidence and the time to learn and become a Web 3 marketer is something that we need to work on. And during a bull market, everything needs to be done yesterday, so no one has patience to train new people up. And that's why I think during a bear market, this is the time to recruit new people, build projects, keep your head down, and train the next wave of talent that is important to grow the Web 3 space into mainstream.
Right. Well, that was a very, very awesome answer. Would you consider yourself, I guess now, a Web 3 marketer? Have you made that transition?
Definitely. So I've been in crypto since 2012. I think I bought my first Bitcoin around $100, and I've been marketing since 2018 when I went to BitPay. So I've been in this space. I've seen multiple cycles, and my goal is to stay in the space. Thinking about going back to a Web 2 job is probably one of the worst things I could imagine.
You want to do, yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, Andrew, we're going to end on a light note. What's been the biggest highlight, for you here at Rarebloom?
I think just seeing and being able to be, I guess, if you will, locked in a hotel with a whole group of passionate Web3 enthusiasts. Just again, there's nothing within 20 miles of here, so we're very tight-knit, fun thing, and we've just the people, I have to say, the people.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think for me it was, connecting, networking, seeing Charles, seeing people like yourself, so many different heads of projects all in one space, it's definitely awe-inspiring. And for any of you guys who may not have had the opportunity to attend Rarebloom. This is just the first of many events, and so I encourage you all, to try to attend as many of these in-person events as possible. You're able to meet, community members, but then also heads of projects like Andrew himself. And so I want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. I know you're a busy person. Even throughout this Rarebloom event, man, you've just been running back and forth. So just getting to sit down and, talk and chop it up and do it in a laid-back fashion, I enjoy it. So thank you so much for your time, man. I wish you and the MELD Labs team the best.
Amazing. Thank you as well.